Okay, so I just got back from the gym, and the first thing I got was a message on WhatsApp on the number of cases today in Goa, 927. Can you even fathom the amount of people who got infected in one day, considering, if I'm not mistaken, our population is only 16 lakhs? It is possible that a lot of people who were tested positive were not residents of the state. Today, after I ended my workout, I was quite tired. You will notice from the disheveled look. But I decided to make this video to give you some very important information. In today's video, please do not expect any niceties, pleasantries, and presentations. I want to get right to the point. Today's video is about saving your life. We can take it for granted now that the situation with COVID-19 in India is totally out of control. Why it has happened and what could have been done does not matter right now. Right now, through this video, I would like to help try save your life. It is inevitable that you will get COVID-19. It is only a matter of time. Let us agree to that. And when you do get COVID-19, you want to have the best chance to pull through it unscathed. COVID-19, like any viral disease, can affect anybody. Most of the cases any viral disease affects are asymptomatic. Studies have shown that this is quite similar with the flu as well. You might have noticed, if you are 4 members living in the family, one person might get the flu, but the other 3 may not. The situation is quite similar with COVID. However, COVID is a lot more infective. The spread of the virus depends on the viral load, and it is far deadlier for people with comorbidities. If you see the figures, we can conclude that we cannot do anything about COVID-19, and it is a matter of time before you will get it. So how will you safeguard yourself? Number one, if you have the option to get vaccinated, please do. Today, all individuals over the age of 45 can get vaccinated. I am sure in the coming days, these vaccines will be open to one and all over the age of 18. Do the vaccines prevent you from getting the disease? No. Even though you have a vaccine, you can still transmit the disease. And you can still get sick from COVID-19. But the vaccination gives a high degree of protection so that you do not have severe disease and require hospitalization or even the ICU. The next thing which is in your hands, and a lot of people have been neglecting, is vitamin D. And for today's video, I would like to concentrate on vitamin D and its benefits in a disease like COVID-19. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, meaning it can be stored in our body. It is stored mainly in our liver and the fat cells of our body. Vitamin D is synthesized with the help of the ultraviolet rays from the sun. With the help of the UV rays, it converts the cholesterol in our skin to its ultimate active form, vitamin D3, through a cascade of chemical reactions, which we will not go too much in depth right now. It can also be found in some foods like fatty fish, and in some countries, compulsorily, some foods like milk are fortified with vitamin D. This occurs mostly in countries, I think in the US, but I'm sure it happens in the Nordic countries. Over here, similarly in India, if you notice, the salt is fortified with iodine, which is not done in most other countries. But the crux of the situation is, the Indian population, through my anecdotal evidence, I have noticed a lot of people are vitamin D deficient. And why does this happen? There are a lot of factors why this happens. The darker your skin is, the more difficult it is for the skin to absorb UV rays from the sun. Indians being predominantly dark-skinned, we are predisposed to having a lower vitamin D. Also, most of the country is vegetarian, and they do not consume fish in large quantities. Also, culturally, we do not like to go and walk in the sun. We have got this phobia of getting dark. So that is another compounding problem. And when we do get the sun, it happens when we are behind the window panes of our vehicles. The UV rays cannot penetrate window panes. So the sun you get when you're sitting in the car is not valid for synthesizing your vitamin D. Since vitamin D is stored in the fat cells of the body, it creates a little bit of a problem as well. If you are overweight, excess vitamin D is stored in your fat cells, and it is not available in the bloodstream for utilization where it is required in the rest of your body. And it further contributes to low serum vitamin D levels. So why am I harping on vitamin D? Vitamin D, as of recent years, has been known as a new supervitamin. It has got a myriad of important functions, including bone health, modulation of cell growth. But for today's video, we are connected with COVID-19. It helps control inflammation and it helps activating what we know as T cells, which fight infection. You see, in very serious cases of COVID-19, the people get what we know as ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. This happens when the cells of your body overreact because the infection is so large and attacking the lungs in such a aggressive manner. The inflammation is so big that your lungs cease to function. It is at this time that you require ventilator support in the ICU. Vitamin D, in simple terms, keeps this inflammation from going out of hand, and it also helps in activating the T cells to fight the infection. I would like to refer you to a couple of studies which I am going to quote. I'm just going to have a look at my PC, which is on the left side, so that I can have a ready reference and accurate reference. There was a study done in 42 patients. This was done in April last year, April 30th, 2020, in the respiratory ICU of a polyclinic of Bari. I am guessing this is in Italy, but don't quote me on that. Of these patients who were in the ICU, 81% of them had low vitamin D levels. The normal vitamin D levels are between 30 nanograms per ml and 80 nanograms per ml, with an optimal value being around 50 nanograms per ml. Anything below 30 nanograms per ml, you've got a low vitamin D level. And anything below 10 nanograms per ml, you've got severe vitamin D insufficiency, which is a very dangerous situation as far as COVID is concerned. And I will give you the stats which shows this. I'm going to read this out. Based on vitamin D levels, the population was stratified into 4 groups. No hypovitaminosis D, insufficiency, moderate deficiency, and severe deficiency. No differences regarding demographic and clinical characteristics were found. A survival analysis highlighted that after 10 days of hospitalization, severe vitamin D deficiency patients had a 50% higher mortality probability, while those with vitamin D more than 10 nanograms per ml had a 5% mortality risk. That means people with vitamin D levels between 10 to 30 nanograms per ml had a 5% risk of mortality if they were admitted into the respiratory ICU. And people with a vitamin D level of less than 10% had a 50% mortality risk. That means there were 50% chances that they were not going to make it out of the hospital if they had a vitamin D level of less than 10%. I will keep a link of this study down in the description below, so please do check it out. You would say less than 10 nanograms per ml, that must be pretty rare. In my personal anecdotal evidence, I have seen that at least 70% of people are having a low vitamin D level, that is below 30 nanograms per ml. And a vast number, much more than you would expect, have a vitamin D level of less than 10%. There is another study I would like to put a link to down the description again. It is from the Journal of Internal Medicine. This was a study which was actually published last year in July, which shows a direct correlation between low vitamin D levels and the severity of COVID-19. So what should you do about your vitamin D levels? In an ideal world scenario, I would ask you to directly supplement. But it is important that you know how much your vitamin D levels are. Because if your vitamin D levels are already high and you supplement on top of it, there is a chance of you having vitamin D poisoning. Although rare, it is a possibility. So why take a chance? So I would advise you to just go and do a blood test and check your vitamin D levels. If you would like to come to us, I am going to leave our contacts down in the description. You could always give us a call and our staff will provide you with more direction. As far as vitamin D, if your vitamin D levels are low, you can supplement either with a high dose vitamin D. See, this will be prescribed to you by a doctor. You could take 60 IU of vitamin D once a week for a period of 2 months, and then take a gap of 1 month and then recheck your vitamin D levels. Or you could take 5 to 6,000 IU every day for a period of 6 months. This is enough to replenish your vitamin D stores. But I would advise you to do a vitamin D levels and take the advice of your doctor. It is important to note that a person like Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is the director of the US National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, and currently one of the leaders against the fight against COVID-19 globally, supplements with around 4,000 IU of vitamin D daily. So from his actions itself, you can understand the importance of vitamin D in fighting COVID-19. Please note, if you are supplementing with vitamin D routinely, the normal safe upper limit is around 4,000 IU per day. However, as I had mentioned earlier, please do take advice from your doctor. Again, I'm sorry if this video was a little bit ranty and devoid of any presentation quality, but I would like to rush this information to you as soon as possible because it is important for you to know this. Also, if this video provided you with some value, please give it a like and a subscribe would be magnificent. Thank you for watching. Signing out, Dr. Rohan Fonseca.